Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. 5 things a woman should never do with a man. Life is too short to compromise on our worth, isn't it? Every one of us is deserving of love, respect, and dignity. Yet, in relationships, we sometimes forget that our greatest strength lies in knowing who we are and what we truly deserve. So today I want to share 5 things that a woman should never do with a man. Losing yourself in a relationship often begins subtly. It might start with small compromises, changing your plans to accommodate his, letting go of certain hobbies because he doesn't share your interest, or silencing your opinions to avoid conflict. While relationships naturally involve some give and take, the danger lies in giving so much that you forget who you are. Your unique personality, dreams, and values are what make you, you. Sacrificing those things to keep someone else happy isn't love, it's self-erasure. Many women fall into this trap because of the desire to make the relationship work at any cost. They tell themselves that being agreeable or prioritizing their partner's needs over their own is what it means to be a good partner. But in doing so, they begin to fade into the background of their own lives. Suddenly, decisions that used to come easily, what you want to do, where you want to go, who you want to be, start to revolve entirely around someone else. It's as if your identity becomes secondary to the relationship itself. The problem is that when you lose touch with your authentic self, you lose the foundation on which a healthy relationship is built. If a man only loves the version of you that's molded to fit his expectations, then what happens when the real you shows up? The real you deserves to take up space, to speak, to dream, and to grow. No relationship is worth sacrificing your essence, because the right relationship will never ask you to. It's also important to understand that keeping your sense of self isn't selfish. It's self-respect. People often mistake selflessness for love, but the truth is a relationship that flourishes is one where both partners feel free to be their whole authentic selves. A healthy partnership enhances who you are, it doesn't diminish it. Holding on to your individuality allows you to bring more to the relationship, more joy, more passion, more depth. By staying connected to who you are, you create a balance where love isn't about losing yourself, but sharing yourself with someone who values you as you are. Allowing disrespect in the name of love is one of the most damaging compromises a woman can make in a relationship. Disrespect often starts in small, almost unnoticeable ways: a dismissive comment, an ignored boundary, or a joke made at your expense. At first, you might brush it off, thinking it's not worth addressing, or you might convince yourself it was unintentional. Over time, however, these small acts of disregard can grow into patterns, leaving you questioning your worth and your voice within the relationship. Disrespect can take many forms. It might show up in the way a man speaks to you, condescending, critical, or belittling words that make you feel less than. It could be in his actions, like disregarding your time, your feelings, or your boundaries. Perhaps it's the way he dismisses your concerns, making you feel as though your needs don't matter. Whatever form it takes, disrespect chips away at the foundation of trust and mutual respect that any healthy relationship requires. What makes disrespect especially dangerous is how often it is masked as something else. Some men might justify it as humor, saying, "I was just joking, don't be so sensitive." Others might frame it as honesty, claiming they're just being real when their words are hurtful. Over time, this can make you doubt yourself, wondering if you're overreacting or being too demanding. But here's the truth: your feelings are valid. If something feels disrespectful to you, it is worth addressing, no matter how small it may seem. Disrespect is not just about how he treats you when things are good, it's also about how he acts when there's conflict. A respectful partner listens to your perspective even when you disagree and makes an effort to find common ground. On the other hand, a man who dismisses your concerns or invalidates your emotions in difficult moments is showing you that he values being right or maintaining control more than he values your feelings. Love can make you tolerate what you would never accept in other areas of your life. But true love cannot exist without respect. If a man is unable to treat you with kindness and consideration, it's not love he is offering, it's control, or at best, Indifference. Compromising your dreams for someone else may feel like a noble sacrifice in the name of love, but it often comes at a cost far greater than you realize. Dreams are a part of your identity. They are the aspirations that drive you, give you purpose, and define your sense of self. When you give up on them to accommodate someone else's desires, you risk losing not just your goals, but also a part of who you are. While relationships thrive on mutual support and shared visions, they should never demand that you set aside the very things that make you come alive. A common scenario is when a woman prioritizes her partner's goals over her own, believing it's her role to support him fully while putting her ambitions on hold. This might mean declining a career opportunity, giving up a personal project, or even changing the course of her life to align with his plans. While compromise is an essential part of any relationship, it becomes unhealthy when it is one-sided, where only one person's dreams are given space to flourish. A relationship should be a partnership, not a hierarchy, where both individuals have the freedom to pursue their ambitions and support each other along the way. The loss of a dream can lead to resentment. Even if it's buried deep inside, you might not notice it right away, but the quiet frustration of knowing you let go of something meaningful can grow. It can erode the very foundation of the relationship you sacrificed for as you begin to feel unfulfilled or unappreciated. It's not selfish to want to achieve your goals. It's a fundamental part of your growth as a person. A man who truly loves you will understand this and encourage you to follow your path, even if it means adjustments in the relationship. It's also important to recognize that pursuing your dreams doesn't take away from your ability to support your partner, it enhances it. When you are fulfilled and living your purpose, you bring more energy, joy, and passion into the relationship. A partnership where both individuals are free to grow creates a dynamic where love becomes a source of empowerment rather than a limitation. Believing you can change a man is one of the most common misconceptions in relationships, yet it often leads to disappointment and heartache. People grow and evolve, but that change has to come from within. They must want it for themselves. Entering a relationship with the hope or expectation that you can fix someone, shape them into a better version of themselves, or heal their wounds is not only unfair to you, but also to them. Love is not about control or transformation, it's about acceptance and mutual respect. Many women find themselves drawn to potential rather than reality. You see the good in someone, the person they could become, and you invest your energy in trying to help them reach that vision. It might feel rewarding in the short term, especially when you see small improvements, but over time this dynamic can become draining. When your love turns into a project, it often creates an imbalance in the relationship where you're doing all the emotional labor while he remains stagnant. You cannot carry the burden of someone else's growth no matter how much you care about them. It's also important to recognize the difference between encouraging someone's personal growth and taking responsibility for it. Supporting a partner through challenges is a natural part of any relationship. But there's a fine line between being supportive and losing yourself in the process. When you take on the role of fixer or savior, you risk neglecting your own needs and boundaries. It's easy to become so focused on helping someone else that you forget to ask whether they're making the same effort for you. Another harsh reality is that sometimes people don't change. No matter how much love, patience, or effort you pour into someone, they may not have the willingness or capacity to grow in the way you hope. Staying in a relationship with the belief that he'll change one day can keep you trapped in a cycle of disappointment, where your happiness is perpetually tied to a future version of him that may never exist. You deserve a partner who is already ready to show up fully, not someone you're waiting on to evolve. Ignoring the voice of your intuition is one of the most common ways women find themselves stuck in unhealthy relationships. Intuition is that inner knowing, a deep sense within you that something is either right or wrong. It's not loud or dramatic, it doesn't shout or demand your attention. Instead, it whispers, nudging you with a quiet discomfort or a strong sense of clarity. Yet far too often, women silence that voice because they don't want to face the difficult truths it reveals. Intuition often speaks in subtle ways. It might come as a nagging feeling in your gut when something about his behavior doesn't sit well with you. It could be the unease you feel when his words don't align with his actions or when promises are repeatedly broken. Perhaps it's the way your energy shifts around and feeling drained, anxious, or unsure of yourself. These feelings are not random, they're your mind and body processing information that logic alone might not be able to explain. The problem arises when you choose to dismiss those signals. You might tell yourself that you're overthinking, being paranoid, or expecting too much. You might even justify his behavior by focusing on his good qualities or the potential you see in him. Society often conditions women to be accommodating and forgiving, which makes it even easier to ignore red flags. But every time you push aside your intuition, you're betraying your own sense of self. Over time, this can lead to deeper feelings of confusion, self-doubt, and even resentment. Trusting your intuition doesn't mean jumping to conclusions or acting impulsively. It means honoring the feelings that arise and giving them the attention they deserve. If something feels off, take the time to reflect on it. Ask yourself if your concerns are being validated or dismissed by your partner. When you ignore your intuition, you risk staying in situations that don't serve you or settling for less than you deserve. Listening to your intuition requires courage. It often calls you to make difficult decisions or confront uncomfortable truths. But it is always on your side, guiding you toward what is best for your well-being. It's a tool designed to protect you, to lead you to clarity, and to remind you that your feelings matter. Thanks for watching.